Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our special fifth Thursday special event, Successful Job Searches. Focus on these four areas. It's August 31st, 2023. Hard to believe that we're 2/3 of the way through the year now. All right. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the CareerDFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just enter them into the chat window. For those watching on Facebook, please just enter questions into the comment field. I am monitoring both feeds. We'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Also, for those people on Zoom, if you'd like to connect with everybody else who's on the call, great way to expand your connections. Put in your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, LinkedIn address, comma, position you're looking for, comma, a couple target companies. Hit the return key. That way, all your information is right together. And connect with everybody else who's on the call today. It'd be a great way to expand your connections. You never know who out there can help you in your job search. All right, well, today we're going to talk about the successful job searches, focus on these four areas. So let me load that presentation up. Give me just a second here. All right, let me get myself a little bit bigger here so y'all can see me. All right, let me move a couple things around here, get my screen so it's easier for me to see what's going on. Oop. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the four areas of your job search I think you need to focus on. And I think you need to do these sort of in order. If you try to do step 3 and 4 before you do 1 and 2, you'll find, I think, you'll be a problem. So let's just for a second, just a little background about me. I've got 20 plus years of manufacturing, light manufacturing experience. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting. We meet every Friday morning in person and on Zoom and on Facebook Live at 9:30 in the morning. You're welcome to join us tomorrow morning. I'll have more information about our program tomorrow morning at the end of this session. Since 2008, I created a website called CareerDFW.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I always have copies with me. In 2012, I was invited to go to the White House Forum on the Job Clubs and Career Ministries, and it was sponsored by the White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. I do not know if that organization still exists in government. That was a very interesting, and it was a great tool that was providing to a lot of community people in the area. I was the only representative from Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, a couple other states that weren't represented there. So there were 110 people there. It was really great to meet other people like me who were trying to give back and help in the community. After coming back from that, I realized that there was no other website like CareerDFW in the country. So I started a website called CareerUSA.org to help those around the United States. All right. Let's see here. CareerDFW and Career USA, we're a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. Everything I've ever done in the last 15 years has just been to help you in your job search. I don't take any money out of the organization. I put in the first couple $1,000 to get us started, but since then, donations have paid for everything that needs to be done. We survive on donations and book sales. So all the proceeds from the book go to support CareerDFW. LinkedIn. We have a couple of LinkedIn groups. We have a Career USA LinkedIn group. We have a Career DFW LinkedIn group. The DFW group, you do not have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the Career DFW group. We have over 14,900 members. Follow us we're also on Facebook. So if you follow us every time we go live, you'll get a little alert on your cell phone saying we're currently live to let you know we're doing something. You also can subscribe to our Career USA YouTube channel. I'll have more about that at the end. We've got over 530 recorded workshops on there. So there's a lot of really great information there for you to go back and watch at your convenience. All right, so we're going to talk today about the 4 areas of your job search that I think you need to focus on, and they are resumes, LinkedIn, interviewing, and networking. And this is the order you've got to be done. You've got to get your resume prepared. You have to be ready to go. You then can sort of get your LinkedIn profile really robust so that people will find you. Then you need to practice your interviewing skills and your networking skills. Your resume and your LinkedIn profile are not going to get you a job. What they will get you is a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's really going to get you your next job. All right, so what I'm going to talk about today is just the tip of the iceberg. We could go into details on any one of these subjects for hours and hours on end, but I'm just going to sort of give you some highlights, give you some things I think you need to think about and talk about here. All right, so let's talk about resumes first. One of the things I see all the time with people when they first get out of job search, where they're first starting their job search, is analysis paralysis. They're stuck. They sit there, they're working on the resume. Oh, I'm not really ready to apply for any. I'm still working on my resume. You've got to remember that your resume is just a hook. It's only something to get that phone call. So my question is, do you have a master resume? And a master resume is something, a document that has everything you've done since you started in your jobs 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Do you have one document that has all that information on it? It should have addresses, who your manager was, 8 or 10 bullet points of successes that you had at each job, all the details. Because once you have that master resume, as that 3rd bullet point says, you customize each one you send out. So that if you see a job description, you take the points of that job description and you match it to your resume. Everybody here has done a lot of really, really great things, but it doesn't make any difference what you've done if they're not asking for it, because you want to get that phone call. To get that phone call, you need to show them that they're looking for somebody to do this, and this is what you can do. You've got to keep to the details of the job description. That is very, very, very important. You've got to have, every one of your bullet points has to have details. You've got to show me dollar signs, percents, numbers. I increased sales by, 15%. I brought in $2 million worth of new business. Whatever it is, give me some numbers, some substantial information. There's a person who writes resumes out of the Houston area, and he talks about every bullet point should say what you did, and then the words resulting in, and then the result. So that here's what you did, resulting in, and the result, because results sell. I need somebody who increase sales. I need somebody to decrease shipping errors. I need somebody to increase production, whatever it is. Show me you can do that on your resume, and I'm going to pick up the phone and call you. Do not blindly send out resumes. If you just sort of get a resume, first of all, you're sending out a generic resume, because how do you know what somebody wants if you're just shooting them out all over the place? I think you should consider a one-page bio. Do not post your resume on LinkedIn, because once again, you're posting a generic resume. On LinkedIn, you already have all the details of what you've done because you filled out a pretty robust LinkedIn profile. We'll talk about LinkedIn in just a few minutes. But consider a one-page bio. A one-page bio doesn't scream, help me, help me, help me, I'm looking for a job. A one-page bio just tells people who you are, what you can do, and maybe you can help them. It's a great networking tool. A one-page bio can be used for many, many situations. Minna Brown provides guidance in her book. This is a book called Be Sharp. This is one of Minna's bios that she does. She's an executive coach and author of public speaker. So this is more of an ad slick for her. There's lots of different formats in it. I really recommend this book, Be Sharp. I think it's one of the 3 books you need to have in your library if you're searching for a job. Minna just did a presentation for the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group last Friday. So if you'd like to see her presentation, you can go to the Career USA YouTube channel. Look at last Friday's presentation by Minna. She'll talk all about why you put together a one-page bio. Okay, let's talk about resumes in the ATS system. You've got to be very careful. There are well over 300 to 500 different ATS systems out there. ATS systems are an applicant tracking system. You do not want to use any special characters or special formatting because you don't know what systems can accept it or not accept it. Do not use the header section or footer section of Microsoft Word. No headers or footers. I've heard from recruiters saying, man, I found this perfect resume, but all their contact information was not there, probably because it was in a header. You do not want to use any templates that you find online. You know, you want to make sure that your resume is in a nice generic format that any ATS system can read. You've got to ensure that the keywords align to the job description. Okay, once again, this is all about keyword match, or whoever's happens to be view. You know, an ATS system, it's a big computer just looking to, I'm looking for these keywords. Does your resume have these keywords, and can I see the connection? Okay, that's the whole key here with an applicant tracking system. You've got to focus on results and accomplishments. We talked about that. Play the so what game. Read your bullet point and then say, so what? And if you can say, oh yeah, so what? Well, I saved X million dollars, or I increased sales, or I did whatever it was you did. If you're showing a result, great. But a lot of bullet points I read, just read like a job description. This is what I was supposed to do, but I don't know really how well you did it because you didn't give me any results. I think every bullet point needs to start out with an action verb, okay? So that you sort of excite the person who's reading it. Listen, a recruiter is going to spend 7 to 10 seconds reading your resume. And in that 7 to 10 seconds, you're going to go in the no pile, the maybe pile, or I need to look at this in a little bit more detail. And believe me, they don't look at a lot of resumes in detail. Here's some common resume mistakes we see all the time. Number one, spelling and grammatical errors. If you see a spelling mistake, you're in the no pile. See a grammatical error, you're in the no pile. If you're using an unprofessional email address, bobloveskittycats@gmail.com, you're in the no pile. You know, let's say you have a University of Texas student email address, and you're applying for somebody who went to OU, you're in the no pile, okay? It's just that simple. You want to make it as generic. You want to make sure it's easy. No fancy format, no designs. You know, if you're hand delivering a resume to somebody, or you're emailing a resume directly to somebody, you can put some color in it. You could do something to make it stand out a little bit more. But when you're applying on an ATS system, it's got to be as plain and simple as possible. Some other mistakes: having too much text. You've got to have a border. You've got to have 1-inch borders around it. White space is good. Nobody reads a dense block of text. Your bullet points should be 1 or 2 lines maximum. Your any block of text, your summary statement, whatever, needs to be no more than 3 lines, because people are going to scan your resume. They're not going to read it in detail. You've got to make sure that every bullet point has the proper tense. Okay, things that you did at a past job should all be in past tense. The verb should be past tense. The things you did at a current job can be in current or past tense, because maybe it was a project you worked on last year. You're no longer working on it, so that's what you did in the past. You do not need to list references available upon request. If they want them, they'll ask for them. And don't just give them to them just thinking they'll want them at the beginning. If they don't ask for them, don't give it to them. And then you've got to customize your resume to the job description. It's very, very important. So we talk about resumes on the first and third Thursdays at 1 p.m. We have effective resumes every first and third Thursday. This coming a week from tomorrow, a week from Thursday, We'll be talking all about resumes, a nice basic format that you can use. We'll show you, we'll give you a couple sample bios, we'll give you a sample resume, we'll give you some action verbs, we'll even give you some T cover letters that you can try to base, if you're writing cover letters, what you can do. It is on the CareerDFW Facebook page. You can check the calendar for more details and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we will be posting those videos as we do it. So every first and third Thursday, we talk all about effective resumes. So let's talk about LinkedIn now for a second. So as of, and this is from LinkedIn as of January of 2023, 95 job applications are submitted each minute. 10 million people use the open to work banner. 50 million people use LinkedIn to search for jobs each week. 6 people are hired every minute on LinkedIn. There are over 61 million companies listed in over 120,000 schools. Now, what's important about the schools is that's a great place to reach out to alumni, other people who went to the same school, and network, be able to network into wherever you're trying to apply to. So on LinkedIn, you've got to have a profile that's current and fully developed. So if you've already gotten a master resume, you now have the details to put into your LinkedIn profile because you can have a fully developed profile with keywords so that people will find you. Does your profile tell a company how you can help them? Remember, in job search, it's not what the company can do for you, it's what can you do for that company? How can I help you? How can I make you look good if you hired me? What do you need me to do to be successful in this job role? So make sure that your profile tells a company how you can help them. Can someone reach out to you easily? Be sure to put your phone number and email address in the About section and in your contact information. But remember, your contact information field only is visible by first-degree connections. So if you don't see somebody as a first-degree connection, they're not going to be able to read your contact information. So that's why it's really important that you also have information in your About section. Also, you want to make sure that your title statement, it tells people what it is you want to do. For an example, you want to be an experienced Java front-end engineer or a talented marketing brand manager. Tell people what it is you do to make it easy for them to figure out what you need to do. Here's a look at my banner. And what I want you to point out here is right down here where it says accomplished manufacturing manager, operation manager, general manager. So I've given a couple job titles that people may be searching for. I put down better, faster, smarter, put it in quotes because it's like a saying I have. Everything I do when I do something, it's how can I do it more efficiently? And then I put down I'm a speaker at career workshops and seminars. Now, if you were to click on my contact information, if you're a first-degree connection, you'd have all my information. But if you're not a first-degree connection, I actually put my information up in my banner photo so that people can reach out to me, my email address and my phone number. I don't get a lot of spam phone calls. Very seldom do I get a spam phone call. But I've made it easy for somebody, if they want to reach out to me, to be able to pick up the phone and call me. In LinkedIn, you want to be sure to have a professional email address. As I said, no bobloveskittycats@gmail.com. It's not going to work. And you need to have a closest large city state. So if you live in Louisville or Richardson or Hutchins or Grand Prairie, these are some cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you want to list the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, okay? Because you want people to reach out to you in that area. If you live outside of Chicago and Evanston or some of the other cities outside of Chicago, list the Chicago metropolitan area. If you live in Dunwoody, Georgia, you probably want to list the Atlanta metro area. List the biggest cities that are closest to you. Always send a personal note whenever you connect with anybody, all right? You want to be able to tell somebody why you should connect. I will not connect with anybody who does not send me a personal note because I want to know why we should connect. It can be just as simple as you saw me here today. That's all I need to know, and I'll connect with you. But if you don't send me a personal note, I am not going to connect with you, because I don't know why we should connect. And the reason I do that is because if in a year from now you reach back out to me and I don't remember who you are, because I've got, there's so many people who connect with me all the time, that at least when your name pops up, I can go back and look, oh, you sent me a note saying that you saw me here at LinkedIn Tuesday. That's all I need to know to be able to send a connection. Even on a cell phone, you can send a connection. So you got to be careful here, okay? There's a couple little really weird things that LinkedIn does. So let me go to the next slide here. If you're looking at somebody's profile on LinkedIn and you see a white connect button, that white connect button will not allow you to send a personal note. It will send a generic invitation. So what you want to do is click on that person's face, go to their profile, and then you just see a blue connect button. When you see a blue connect button, then you can always send that personal note. Now, this is on a desktop or a laptop. If you're using a cell phone, things are a little bit different. Back up. So on a cell phone, and this is an iPhone screenshot, and I think they've actually changed the more button to maybe either the hamburger or 3 little dots. If you click on the blue connect button on a cell phone or on the mobile app, it sends a generic invitation. You need to open up the sub menu to get to, you see that second menu over on the right-hand side that says personalized invitation. Okay, that's how you get to that. So always send that blue connect button. Very, very important. All right. Too far. Let's go back one. Come on, here we go. You've got to get your profile to all-star status. In fact, I'll be posting something on the Career USA YouTube channel about how to do that. The career tip of the week will be out in the next month or so about how to get to all-star status. But you have to have a current position, a location, industry summary, at least 5 skills, and education, and a photo. Oh, I don't want to put my photo on LinkedIn. People will discriminate against me. Listen, everybody here has gone to church, you've gone to a bar, you've gone to a concert, you've gone someplace and went, ooh, that person's cute or something. All right. You don't want to walk into an interview and then look you over and go, oh, I don't want to hire you just because of the way you look. All right. So don't worry about that. Get a good looking headshot. We'll talk about headshots in just a moment. Well, Jeff, I don't have a current position because I'm not looking for a job right now. So here's what you do for that current position. You create a new job. You put in for the job title 3 job titles that you would be interested in, 2 or 3 job titles that you're interested in. In the company name, you put your phone number and your email address. And then in the description, you list 2 or 3 successes that you've had doing the job titles that you listed. And the very last bullet point says, feel free to reach out to me. How can I help your company? And put your contact information in there again. That will tell somebody that you're looking for a job. So that gets you a current position. And by doing that, that moves you up in the status of LinkedIn. So talking about photos, here are some good photos and some bad photos. Now that photo in the very bottom left-hand talking with the moving, bottom right-hand corner with the moving mouth, that's the worst. Just don't worry about that one. But in the upper left-hand corner, guy's got a great shot, nice and close. The problem is he's all washed out in the back because he's got too much light in the background. He should have turned around and probably the light would have been a lot better that way. The guy in the purple shirt, that's fine for Facebook, but that is not a LinkedIn photo, okay? I mean, he's at his tropical paradise, wherever he's at. That's not an appropriate photo for LinkedIn. The next one over, the lady sitting in the gold chair. The problem I have with this is I think it should be closer because I want to have a closer view of who she is. I think from chest up is all you need. We don't need to see you sitting down. That'd be fine on a website photo maybe, but not on LinkedIn. In the upper right above my head, in the upper right-hand corner, that's Gail. Is it Gail him or Gail her? We don't know. Lower left-hand corner, open to work. He's got the banner on there. Great, but he's too far away. He's standing next to some chess pieces, it looks like. You know, it's get a little closer. The next two photos I really, really like. I think they're both great, either the color or black and white. Both of them have got a nice smile. They're both looking directly at the camera. And the thing I also like about them is their shoulders are pointed into their LinkedIn profile. A lot of times I've gone to national conventions and I see people that take, they have photographers that are taking shots for LinkedIn. The problem is they take it where you're facing, like if you see my shoulders right now, my shoulders are facing, if this was on LinkedIn photo, remember your LinkedIn photo is in the upper left-hand corner, I would be facing and looking off the screen. So the way they're both facing this way, they're now looking into the body, the detail of the LinkedIn photos. It's a small little psychological thing for me. It bugs me. It doesn't bug other people, but once I point it out, they go, "Oh, I never thought about that." So if you need to, you can always, if you get a photo, just flip it. You can find photo software that will flip the photo for you to make it look okay. So you're facing the right direction. All right, in LinkedIn, you've got to have a job title that you're applying to. Don't make up job titles. You're not in manufacturing management. You're a manufacturing manager. You're a production manager. Make sure the verb, make sure the titles that you're applying, that you list on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, are the job titles that are in LinkedIn, because that's how recruiters are going to do it. They're not going to sit there and type in chief people person. They're going to type in director of talent acquisition, director of human resources, some other role like that. So use the job titles that are in LinkedIn. Use the open to work banner. If you're out looking for work, if you're unemployed and looking for work, put the banner on. At the beginning, a year and a half ago, when this came out, there was a lot of discussion. Should I, shouldn't I? I don't know. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it makes me look too I'm looking too hard to try to, I'm showing people that I'm too desperate. You're not too desperate. The reason you're doing this is that even if you say you're open to work and you say recruiters only, by doing that, you've cut out 50% of the people or more who don't pay for the recruiting package. Less than 50% of recruiters pay for recruiter or recruiter light. That's $5,000 to $10,000 a year for the seat licenses. Okay, so a lot of recruiters join groups to try to find you. In the CareerDFW LinkedIn group, it's got over 14,900 members. I would say 1 out of 15 of those people are recruiters. They're joining it because they're trying to find you. Okay, so the other reason to use the open to work banner is that if you're looking for work and maybe you post or share something and one of your contacts see it, they'll go, "Oh, I didn't know Jane was looking for work. We had a great working relationship 5 years ago when we worked together at IBM. I'd love to have her back on my team. Let me reach out to her and see if she's really looking or see how I can help her." So, let your friends, neighbors, objects, let as many people know that you're looking for work as you can. In your about section, you want an overview of your career using keywords from your profession, and be sure to include your contact information. Very, very important. In your experience section, you want to make sure that your job title, if you have an unusual job title, all you have to do is put my first job out of college was electronic AV Tech 1. What did that mean? Well, that's the slot that they filled me in with the job title they filled me in to do my role. What was I? I was a videographer and an editor, videotape videographer and editor. This is back in the early days of 3/4-inch tape and VHS tapes coming out, being able to make copies of stuff. So my job title was electronic AV Tech 1, and in parentheses, I put down videographer and editor, so people would know what I did, okay? And then be sure to include a description of your duties, including keywords from your profession. Now, LinkedIn now also allows you to list skills for each job. Pick at least 3 to 5 skills of what you were good at that particular job. You've got to have education. If you have any awards, certificate, professional development, LinkedIn has expanded a lot of fields. Back when I joined LinkedIn over 10 years ago, half these fields didn't exist. Now they do. You can put in any books you've written, publications, any patents that you've got. You've got space to put all this stuff in there. Do that because it allows for more keyword matching. You've got to have skills from your profession. You've got to have some endorsements. I think the whole endorsement section is sort of weird because people are endorsing me all the time for things that they don't know about. They don't know, they didn't work for me. How do they know how good a manager I am? Now, you can endorse me because you know I'm a public speaker, but you don't understand, you don't, my work experience is hard for you to be able to do that because you didn't actually work for me. You need to have recommendations from your coworkers and former bosses. I recommend that you have 2 or 3 of them. They've got to come from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. If you've got one from 2014, one from 2016 or something like that, you have got to come up with something current. Now you can reach back out to those people who wrote that back then, have them modify it, and that'll give it an updated, that'll update it for you. But if you've got recommendations that long ago, if you don't have any current, I don't make that be the only ones that pop up in the current field. All right, on LinkedIn, a couple settings. Number 1, you want to make sure you turn off people also viewed. Over in the very right-hand side of the screen, there's something that said people also viewed. People just like the person you're looking at. Why do you want to promote other people who do what you do? Don't do that. So turn that feature off. It's in your privacy and settings. And then you want to turn on, let recruiters know that you're open to new opportunities. Be sure to follow any company that you're interested in. If you're interested in applying for a job at DFW Airport, find the company page and click on follow. Here's why you want to do that. Let's say a recruiter is using the LinkedIn recruiting package and they say, I'm looking for a project manager. They type in project manager, they type in a couple skills, 100 people come up. One of the things they have across the very top of their screen is people who follow this company. They click on that. So maybe of the 100 people who came up, 24 people actually follow DFW Airport. Well, you know what? If I find them in the people who already know who we are, I'm going to look at those candidates first. Now, if I don't find anybody in that 24, I'll then look at the other 76 people who are on the list. But this gets you moved up in the rankings as far as people who can follow you, for recruiters to be able to find you. So follow any company that you're interested in. You want to post, share, or like something every day. You should be on LinkedIn 10 to 15 minutes a day at the minimum. Just go through your news feed. You like something, click on yes. If you can post something once a week, if you can come up with your own article and post it and tag a couple people, you will move up in the LinkedIn ratings. If you can share a comment, you can add, you have to add 12 words for maximum usage, but if you can share somebody else's post, share that post to your group and let people know about who you are. Like something 3 to 5 times a day. The higher the rating here, like, share, post up to the very top, from bottom to top, gets you more points as you go up the list. LinkedIn calculates your score on a daily basis on what you're doing, how active you are. So just know that it's very important. Always reply to any LinkedIn InMail or connection requests. As I mentioned before, recruiters, when they look for job people, one of the options they have is people more likely to respond. So anytime you get a LinkedIn InMail or a connection request, don't just let it sit there. Ignore or accept the request for a LinkedIn InMail. Just reply. Even if you're not interested, say, thank you very much for reaching out, but I'm not interested. That's all you have to do. Just show them that you're active. So we talk about LinkedIn every Tuesday. Listen, I've only talked about the tip of the iceberg here. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we talk about LinkedIn. We've got 4 different speakers. We talk about LinkedIn as they rotate through. We'll be picking it back up again right after Labor Day, on Tuesday after Labor Day. So join us next Tuesday. We're either live on Facebook live on Zoom, and all those events are always recorded on the Career USA YouTube channel. All right, let's talk about interviewing. So as I said, resumes and LinkedIn only get you a phone call. How well you can practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. So on an interview, you've got to be prepared for an interview. Every bullet point on your resume should have a story. And I say write them down. You've got to keep your answers to 45 to 60 seconds. And back in the day, back pre-COVID, we used to say, oh, you can go 90 seconds to 2 minutes. People's attention spans have gotten so short, especially on TV, that you've got to cut your answers down to 45 to 60 seconds. You can always say, would you like more detail? Or I only talked about 2 of the 3 things I had to do. I can go into more detail if you'd like to do that. But I talk about writing all your bullet points down. I say you should get an index card. And on your index card, write the bullet point at the very top, and then put an STAR on the side and write, here was the situation. Here was the task, 1 sentence each. Here was the action I took, and here are the results. This is what I did to be successful, to be successful. You can use the STAR method. There's all sorts of different methods you can use. Just pick whichever one you like, but have them written down, because when you write something down, not type it, but write it down, your visual memory and everything helps you with it. You're not going to read this word for word. You're just going to use this to sort of remind you of the story. That way, when you're sitting outside, if you go for an in-person interview, when you get to the, you're going to arrive a half hour early, you're going to be sitting out in the parking lot, you can sit there and you can flip through these cards and go, oh yeah, this is what I want to make sure I talk about. Write them down. It will be much, much better. Be prepared to answer these questions. So why do you want to work here? I know a recruiter who presents to us and she talks about why. She'll ask every candidate, so why do you want to work here? You've got to have a good answer or you don't get moved up the ladder. How much did you make your last job, or your salary? It may not be that, but it'll be something about salary. How much do you expect to make? Whatever. Be prepared. The answer I like to use is, well, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, this position in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the pay range is somewhere between $72,000 and $96,000 a year. I'm sure that whatever your company is going to be paying will be fair and equitable. Would you mind sharing what your range is? So when you do something like that, you show people that you've done some research, that you've prepared what it is you're looking for. And then why'd you leave your last job? And why'd you leave the job before that, and the job before that, and the job before that? They're going to want to find out what were the reasons. You want those to always be positive. You never want to say, I got fired because I took $1 million from the Treasury Department. So if you've got a problem with why you left, you really need to discuss it. You want that issue to be as short as possible and to be able to move right on about how you can help the company. When you're interviewing, you always want to have questions to ask. I conduct interviews with a practice interview team, and one of the things that I see all the time is we'll ask at the end of the interview, so do you have any questions? And they go, no. Or they're sitting there trying to make up a question real quick. You should have questions written down. The goal is to try to get 5 of those questions into the interview during your 30-minute interview. And then you save those other 5 at the very end if they happen to ask you for more questions. The +1 question is, be sure to ask for the job, or what's the next step, or who will I be contacted by? How do I compare to the ideal candidate? Okay, so don't wait. You want to ask questions during an interview. You don't want to make it an inquisition. You've got to make sure you find out what the next steps are going to be at the end of the interview. You want to express even a greater interest. You have an opening statement. We don't really talk. I'm not talking about opening statements here, but if you did, you'd be finding out, this is who I am. This is how I can help your company. What are the 2 or 3 things you need me to do to be successful if you hire me? You find those things out. You reiterate that. You repeat those at the end of the conversation. And then also at the very end, be sure to be advanced to the next step or ask for the job if you feel comfortable. There's a gentleman I know who was working, who had an interview, and he said, "Hey, I saw that empty desk out in the hallway. Would that, in the office when I was walking in, would that be my desk? I'd be glad to start on Monday." You know, if you think things are going well, ask for the job. Don't wait. One of the things we hate to hear at the end of an interview is, "Well, thank you very much for having me in. I look forward to hearing from you soon." And then you walk out. You haven't done anything. You haven't asked for anything. You haven't said, "I'm the person for you." Don't do that. A couple of interviewing mistakes: forgetting to take credit or explain your personal contribution. You've got to use I or my instead of we. So when you're talking about what we did, what the committee did to fix the issue, I want to know what you did. Here was my responsibility. This is what I did to solve the issues that I was assigned to do. You never ever want to speak negatively about a previous boss, a coworker, or a job. Keep it positive. You always learn something wherever you were at, no matter how bad things could have been. Come up with something positive. What did you learn? I really enjoyed working with my coworkers. They were really great. Just whatever it is. And then you do not want to focus too much attention on a single interviewer in a panel interview. So if you're interviewing with 2 or 3 people, be sure to focus your answers and you're looking at them at each person as you're talking. If person A answers the question, be sure to look at answer person A, then B, then C, then back to A, then B to C. Be sure to move back and forth because you want to include everybody. So the practice interview team, they are meeting in person on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday. So next Wednesday, I think we have 2 interviews that are actually going to be happening in person. You're welcome to come watch the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of the month. On the 2nd, 4th, and 5th Wednesdays, like we did this past Friday, we are on Zoom. The practice interview team is totally free. Their motto is practice early, practice often. You need to practice 2 to 4 times to become really proficient in what you're doing. If you'd like to schedule an online interview, they're not going to be scheduling any interviews for the next 15 days, only on Wednesday. And we've already got people lined up for the next 2 Wednesdays in person and on Zoom. But when you're ready, you can reach out to dallaspcrew.com for more information. Like I said, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we do talk about interviewing. So either we'll be in person, 1st and 3rd Wednesday, or online, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. And we're on Zoom only. We do not record any of these interviews when we do with people. We only record it for the interviewee so they can go back and watch it at their convenience. One of the things you can find if you need some help with interviewing on the Career USA YouTube channel, we have a 13-part workshop about interviewing. Who knew that there were over 20 hours of material just to be interviewed? So the first 5 sessions all talk about what do you do before the interview, how to prepare for the interview, how to put together a star story, how to analyze the job description. The second 5, or what do you do during the interview, how to do an interview opening, which is something we didn't talk about here. We talked a little bit about closings. We didn't talk about follow-up, how to discuss compensation, how to ask questions during the interview. And then the last 3 topics were some advanced topics on interviewing that you can watch that will be very, very helpful. But if you need any help for any one of these, just go to the Career USA YouTube channel and look on the interviewing playlist, scroll down till you find first one you'll see will be lesson 13, then 12, and 11, because we did these in date order, but you're going to see them backwards and dates that they popped up. All right, let's talk a little bit about networking now. Don't spend all day in front of a computer. 5 to 10% of jobs are found online. 10 to 15 are found using recruiters. 75 to 80% of jobs are found through networking. And I can tell that number is true. Since I've been leading the North Dallas Planner Career Focus Group meeting, 1 out of 10 people may find their jobs something they applied online. A couple people may have found their jobs dealing with a recruiter, but most people found their job because they maybe applied online, but they then submitted their resume to somebody they knew in the company who then got their resume passed along to the hiring manager or somebody in HR. When you can network into a company, you have a 50% shot of getting an interview. Where if you do not have a referral, the chance of you getting a callback from an online application is less than 2%. You've got to make sure you reach out to everybody you know during the interview process. If you can, you just want to try to find some people. Here's something I highly recommend. It's called, some people call it the prayer letter, call it whatever you want, but this is what I think. Every 3 to 4 weeks, you should send an email out, and probably 2 different emails. One to friends, family, church members, one to your professional contacts. And what you want to do is in the very first line of the email, you want to say, I want to thank the following people for their help in my job search over the last 3 weeks, and list 3 or 4 names. Now you're sending this out blind copy, so they don't know who else is getting it. All they see is maybe their name's not on the list. Maybe they should try to help you. And you can make up some names if nobody helped you, but you just put some out there just to sort of bait the hook. Second paragraph, as a reminder, I'm looking for a position as a project manager at, XY, looking for a project manager position, or I'm looking for help making contacts at. Third paragraph, if you know someone who works at the following companies and you want to list 3 target companies, put those in there, because you never want to say, I'm looking for a job in the downtown Dallas area. Well, that's just too generic. Nobody's going to help you. But if you have target companies that go, oh, well, wait, I know somebody who works at IBM, or I know somebody who works at whatever, I'll connect you with that person. And then the last paragraph is, if there's anything I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out to me. All right, so we talk about networking on the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month. We've got 21 different speakers who have talked about it. We rotate through them every year. Just some great information. Listen, networking is basically all the same thing, but in this case, what we're doing is we're talking about how they do it. What do they do? I mean, in one case, one lady who talks about it says, you probably know everybody you need to know and their numbers in your cell phone. When's the last time you reached out to somebody in your cell phone from a photo from 5 or 6 years ago? Just attach a photo, go, hey, I just found this on my phone, thought I'd reach out and say, hi, how's it going? That's networking, how to reach out. Okay, so like I said, we've got 21 different speakers talking about LinkedIn, about networking. Come join us, really, really great information. So every Tuesday we talk about LinkedIn, every Wednesday we talk about interviewing, every Thursday either resumes or networking, and every Friday morning the North Dallas Planner Career Focus Group meeting. All those times are listed in Central Time. Most of them would be live on the CareerDFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. Just follow us for more information. All right, so here are a few little bonus tips I want to just share with you. We've got over 530 workshops that are recorded, as I've mentioned a couple times, on the Career USA YouTube channel. So on YouTube, just type in Career USA. Once you've done that, please click subscribe. That way, every time we post a video, you'll get a little email saying we just uploaded a new video. And then pick the playlist, click on playlist, because I have over 530 videos. Otherwise, it's very hard for you to figure out what's where. But if you click on playlist, every video we go will go into one of 7 different playlists, as you can see here: resume, LinkedIn, networking, interviewing. So by doing that, then don't click on the video, but at the very bottom, click on view full playlist. And then what will happen is up will come a list of all the different dates and topics, and you can go back and find any one of these sessions that you're looking for. So just scroll down until you find what you're looking for. That information will be in there. All right, a couple other things. If you're not early, you're late. I didn't come up with this. I think Vince Lombardi from the Green Bay Packers, he used to say, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. On time is late. 5 minutes early is on time. He used to insist that his players be in the practice room or in the training room 5 minutes before scheduled, because that's the on time thing. And personally, I think it's the same thing. You want to be on time. You want to be Vince Lombardi. Thank you very much. I just think that that's very, very important. Always include contact information in emails. Your signature line, all of your details, include everything. You know, name, phone number, what you do. I put my email address in my signature line. Why? Well, what if somebody was to copy this into Outlook and then they want to fill in all their different fields? They wouldn't have to go back and forth to try to find my email address. I put my LinkedIn address. I'm always promoting CareerDFW and CareerUSA.org. So this includes if you're on your cell phone, if you apply on your cell phone, you've got to, you know, take that information and use it and put it into the Mail app, Gmail app, the Yahoo map, whatever app you're using on your phone. So you have a signature line there all the time. You want to make it easy for someone to pick up the phone and call you. Make sure your display name says who you are from your emails. I got the very top line here. It's always really pretty funny. I got an email once and it came from WSU Cougar 96. And this was an email from this lady who was thanking the North Dallas group for all the support over the last, couple of months that she'd been looking for a job. And I emailed her back and I said, and I saw this, I went, Cougar, well, maybe I have some Cougars who come to my Friday networking group, but I don't think they're 96 years old. WSU, this used to be this, I actually got this during March Madness, and I happened to see that Washington State University, there are the Cougars, and she must have graduated in 1996. So her name is Barbara, and I told Barbara, thanks, Barbara. This is something I'm going to use in every presentation I ever give, because this is what you don't do. The second guy here, Mike Gmail. Gmail apparently changed his last name. He didn't even know that it was happening, that his name was being changed to Mike Gmail. And I made a copy. I sent it to him. And he said, we went and fixed it right away. Thanks. I didn't even know that. So make sure that you email yourself, see what display name's coming up, and make sure it's things that make sense to everybody. If you know somebody who's unemployed, recently unemployed, been unemployed for a long time, help them out. Let them know about CareerDFW.org. Let them know about CareerUSA.org. 2 totally free websites. They don't collect any personal information. They are just there to help you in your job search. So please let them know about those totally free websites. So please remember, join the CareerDFW or CareerUSA LinkedIn groups. You can follow us on our CareerDFW Facebook page. You can subscribe to our CareerUSA YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, you can join the CareerUSA mailing list. Just scan this QR code. It'll start it. Whoop, I guess I should get my head out of the way so you can do that. Scan this QR code, or you can send a blank email to CareerUSA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed, but what you will get is the Zoom link of the day, the title of the day, and the topic of the day. That way you can just open up the email and you can join us when we're doing our presentations. So if your group is looking for a speaker, feel free to reach out to me. I've got 4 or 5 topics that I feel comfortable talking about. I give them at national conventions. The book is available on Amazon for $15. If you're interested, all the proceeds go to support CareerDFW. If you see me in person, I'll sell you the book for $10. So if you see me in person, it's a little bit cheaper. So let me stop. Let me switch presentations here. Any questions anybody has? We're glad to answer any questions anybody has about this. I'll stop sharing here. If anybody has any questions, I can answer them for you, or we'll just sort of finish up here. Questions, going once, going twice. All right, well, let me just share a few more slides and we'll end this in the presentation today. CareerDFW CareerUSA, as I mentioned before, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Tomorrow morning at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, we will be talking about, we'll have open forum the first Friday of every month. We talk about whatever it is you want to talk about your job search. So bring your questions, bring your answers, bring your suggestions. We're here to talk about it. We are on Zoom or Facebook Live. We also are meeting in person. So if you'd like to come join us in person, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll get you that information on how you can join us tomorrow morning at 9:30 Central Time. Next Tuesday, our LinkedIn presentation will be with Ruth Lipsky. She'll talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. It's a great presentation. Come join us for that. Next Wednesday, as we mentioned before, the Practice of New team will be meeting in person the first Wednesday of the month. They have 2 scheduled interviews, so you can watch somebody else be interviewed. It's fascinating just to watch somebody else. You'll sit there and go, "Oh, I got to make sure I like the way they said that," or or not do that. And you'll have an opportunity to give feedback to the candidate, whichever candidate you happen to watch. And then next Thursday, we're going to talk all about effective resumes, primarily resumes for the ATS system, but some basic techniques that all resumes should have. We'll talk about that next Wednesday. If you'd like to join the CareerDFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join one or both. This session has been recorded. It will be on the CareerDFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. I've already sort of pointed that out, where to go find these things at. I've mentioned if you like to receive emails about our workshops, just join the Career USA mailing list. Please remember, CareerDFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 15 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. If not, have a great Labor Day, and we will see you next week.